question is, people say that I'm, I suppose, really gloomy, depressed, and all that kind of thing. No, I think that if you really are that person, you don't write books. And just think about it. Even if your book is quite gloomy, even if it's The Road, you know, that's gloomy. What do they eat anyway? I just couldn't figure that out. I'm a practical person. It's always bothered me in Ivanhoe that poor Rebecca, when she was shut up in the tower, she didn't have any bathroom. How did that work? Practical details, they interest me. Where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So, in order to write a book, number one, you have to finish it. It takes quite a lot of hopeful effort. Number two, you have to believe that somebody's going to publish it, big hopeful effort. And then that somebody's going to read it, another big hopeful effort. And then that they will understand it, yet another one, and then they will actually like it. And altogether, that's a great big sack of hope. And I think if you really hate people, you're not going to want to communicate with them. Why would you? You want to go off and live in a cave somewhere and just let them go to hell in a handbasket all by themselves. Or put it this way, if you know there's a big hole in the road and you want people to fall into it, you don't say a thing. Way at the back. Way at the back. Yes, you've won. Win for a day.
You spoke earlier about The Handmaid's Tale being turned into an original graphic novel, and you've also had the recent Kickstarter, The Secret Lives of Geek Girls. And I was wondering if you could speak to your experiences writing comics versus prose, likes, dislikes, pros and cons.
Okay, comics and prose. And the question was, Handmaid's Tale is being turned into a graphic novel. I'm not doing the pictures. It's a lot of work. But I did help with the script. And I have written comics, and I do draw, and if you look at the end papers of the hardback version of In Other Worlds, those are my end papers. And even if you go onto my website at margaretatwood.ca and look under audio visuals, you can see some strips. And I did help out Hope Nicholson, who was her pal, with her Kickstarter called Secret Lives of Geek Girls, and I offered myself as a perk. So perky. So 4 strips that will be in her book, four 4-panel strips. And then I'm going to do one special one for somebody called Emily, who gets a personalized one about Emily. My job has been made easier because I've learned that Emily has been to Comic Con. Think of the possibilities. So what is the difference? Well, one of them has got words only, that would be the novels. And the other one has got words and pictures, that would be the comics. But I understand comics pretty well because I grew up in their golden era. And that's when all of the kids read comics and all of the parents were worried about their comic rating as being depraved. And I can also tell you that the Comics Code of America came in, and you weren't supposed to put any more sadism and gore and stuff like that in, but it applied strangely only to colored comics. So all the sadism and gore went into the black and white comics, which we acquired avidly at the drugstore where they were freely on sale. Yes. So I understand the conventions, and it's been very interesting to see the graphic novel come in. Not a comic, you wouldn't call it a comic exactly, but you would call it a story told in pictures, and probably one of the outstanding examples is Mouse, which really kicked off a certain strain of graphic novel storytelling. So it is another way of telling stories. It's very old. The Bayeux Tapestry is really that, if you come to think of it. It's pictures with a little bit of writing. Tells the story of William the Conqueror invading England. And the lives of the saints used to be done that way in frescoes. So you'd have the saint being born, and then you would have some examples from his life, and then you would usually get him having a saintly type of death, and it would all be on a panel that you could read from usually left to right. And going even further back from that, Egyptian wall decoration had quite a lot of storytelling and pictures in it. And when you get to classic medieval cathedrals, that's what they were. They were essentially story books, and everything in that cathedral would be part of a story. So it's like that. And when you're working with an illustrator, if you're working with somebody who can actually draw better than me, who's going to do the pictures, you have to pay quite a lot of attention to the visual details, the way you would pay attention to adjectives and nouns in a novel. So, and it's a lot like writing a film script, which I've also done quite a bit of. So you say, it's a close-up, it's from this person's point of view, we want to see this object, we're emphasizing, this thing that somebody can see out the window. So it's a lot of multi-level thinking. Right at the back.
I can't believe I'm talking to Margaret Atwood.
That's a hallucination.
All right, I'm an English teacher, and we were recently talking about censorship of books. So given what we're exposed to in the media and on the internet, what's your opinion of The Handmaid's Tale still being censored today?
What is my opinion of The Handmaid's Tale still being censored today? You mean people saying it shouldn't be taught in a school?
Yes.
Okay, for me, a really good job of censorship and banning would be a big pile of books and somebody with a torch, destroying every single copy. And dictators who are serious about it, that's what they do. That's why I think I was so interested in Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 when it was first published. So my opinion of that is it's a school. There are going to be parents expressing their opinions. There are also going to be kids expressing their opinions. If I were a really cynical person, I would say censor it more, because the kids then go off and read it. All it is somebody saying, don't read that, and bam, they're there. This is a very, very naughty book. Don't even open the cover. And so I read Peyton this. So there's a wonderful example of that. It took place in Texas, where and somebody is here tonight who was part of that. And I just spoke to him. And the parents and board, I guess, decided that they're going to kick The Handmaid's Tale out of the curriculum. And the kids got together and argued their case as to why that should not happen, and they won. And part of that was that I wrote a letter to the school board explaining why they had not understood the book. And you can find that in the back of my book about SF, which is called In Other Worlds. It includes that letter to the Judson School Board. But in a democracy, these things are going to be argued back and forth. So you can't say either, you can't censor it, that's just as dictatorial. And you can't say everyone has to censor it, because that's dictatorial too. So it's going to be a question of people arguing it out, coming to a conclusion, making up their minds, and not giving into panic and hysteria. we are often quite easily stampeded by panic and hysteria. And usually the people who want to do these things haven't read the book. You know, they've read maybe page 35. Somebody has found some naughty bit and said, "You can't let your child read this." Your child is probably way ahead of you. So there, I think it's going to be like that.